Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of StarCraft Inc. I know, it's been a long time. I've been doing that whole actually playing the game thing that I've heard about so much. Stopped casting a little bit. It was the winter holidays for me, but I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. I was not gone anywhere, just taking a little bit of a break. And this game is between MouzMana as the green Protoss on the right side of Dual Sight, that's the map, and his opponent is ESCGoOdy on the left side of the map, spawning as the purple Terran. Now, I believe this is the Gigabyte Cup. That is the tournament this is. ESCGoOdy, if you don't know, he looks a little bit like Hurley from Lost. He is a German player, and his biggest win in the last little bit was probably second place in ESL. And his opponent over here, the MouzMana, the green Protoss, as we spoke earlier, he was really successful in 2010. 2011, he's got a bunch of wins. He's from Poland. He's got a lot of minor first places, like the really small kind of, you know, weekly tournaments, stuff like that. Nothing really big. Second place in an ESL though. 2010, he was his big stand. He got second place in the DreamHack against Nama, and that's what I remember him most from, his very patient play against siege tank creeps. Oh, is he so good at breaking siege tank creeps, but not good enough because Nama, one of the best siege tank creepers I've ever seen, managed to dismantle MouzMana despite his patience. Protoss versus Terran is one of my most familiar matchups. I understand it very well as I do play Protoss myself, and one thing that I have learned so much about is the scouting involved, and you know, so many players pass off scouting and really don't take what they need from it, but there's so much you can learn from a Terran player just by what's on his wall, what you can see from the bottom of the ramp, what he shows here, how many gases he takes, and just like you can see that in every race. If you look at a Protoss player, I mean, he's only got one gas, he's spending his chrono. That tells you a lot of things, and we'll talk about that more later, but look at this, he's taking his second gas now, and that tells you that if it is in fact a 4-gate push, you will see a lot of sentries in that push. But odds are, because he's spending his chrono, you won't see a 4-gate. Only when you see chrono being saved up is a 4-gate coming. So that's a big indicator for Terran players looking out for that early aggression. Is it safe to fast expand? And that's a big one right there. This is a reasonably short map, and I believe there are only 2 spawning locations, so it would not be good. It would not be a good idea to expand fast unless it was a very safe expand. So the factory's going down for ESCGoOdy. We don't have a second gas, so my assumption is Hellions, or he will be going into some, you know, I don't even know what the goal here is because of the second gas. So my guess is Hellions. And we are seeing a, there you go, we're seeing a reactor on the barracks, which I imagine will be hot swapped onto the factory, but we'll see. Only time will tell. A first Hellion is coming out of this base. There is a stalker going around the long way to scout for whatever, I'm not even sure what, and a probe going over here maybe to drop a proxy pylon, but definitely checking for a hidden expansion, I believe. I'm going to steal some minerals, but it's not a big deal. SCV here on the strange looking watchtower, only to be seen on Dual Sight. It took me a long time to really get used to that. Kind of bothered me, to be honest, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So going over here, there is some chrono being saved up, so what that means I don't know. He looks like he might chrono out the last bit of his warp tech, but he's not spending it at all. What was that chrono spent? We just saw the Nexus cast chrono. There we go, we've got this Twilight Council chronoing out Blink. We do see 3 gates coming out. It looks like it's going to be some early Blink aggression from the 3 gateways, and maybe an expand off the pressure, but we'll see. Looking at ESCGoOdy, he does have this bunker here, and he's got a lot of tech coming out. So he's kind of counting on this wall and this bunker to hold his position, and he's not expanding. He doesn't have much military. If anything gets up onto this high ground, then he's in trouble, and he's really counting on that not happening. He's going balls out tech, and that sacrifices army. 2 things in the early game sacrifice army, and that's heavily teching and expanding really fast. And when you can scout those things, there are a lot of ways to punish those moments. Over here we have a Robo Bay, which will pump out either a Warp Prism or an Observer. I would say that the Warp Prism would probably be the better option, because not only can he get the high ground he needs to blink, but he can also warp in reinforcements right inside the base. And we will see that Blink is just now finishing. Siege Tech only just now starting for ESCGoOdy. He's got that medevac to heal his troops, and I think there was an intention to drop Hellions or Marines into the Protoss player's base. Both players know that each other are not expanding. They have checked for expansions, and what does that tell you? That tells you that they are going to all-in you. Not necessarily all-in, but one base. Really heavy one base pressure. Terran, it's a little harder to tell because they could expand inside their base and float the command center out, so you can't always tell right away. We are going to see that Observer come out for the Protoss player, and we will see Blink Stalkers getting in position. I don't know what they're doing here. He could have just gone right up there. He's going to actually go straight for that bunker, get rid of that right away. And he has low ground control, but I mean, he's still not up in the base. He sees the army size. I guess he doesn't want to blink up inside and get stuck there, because if he blinks up, he can't use blink again. So if he sees that there's a bad situation there, he can't get away. Blink being used to utmost efficiency. He took out a lot of Marines there, a bunch of siege tanks. Siege tank almost finished, well, about halfway. Once siege tank finishes, this harass will be far less effective. But siege tanks do quite a bit of damage when they are unsieged. Their firing rate is impressive, and as you can see, they do 25 damage to the Stalkers per shot. And the DPS, because of that high firing rate, is pretty damn strong. A Banshee going to the Protoss base, but gets sniped by Blink Stalkers. Great scouting by MouzMana. And what is his transition? What is his follow-up to this? Will he continue with the balls to the wall, Stalker pressure? I mean, it'll work effectively if he can get in on top of these siege tanks, but the Marines are protecting it. A single SCV falling forward to perhaps repair the wall and build a second bunker, maybe? I don't know. This big Stalker ball is going to become threatening if it can get on top of the tanks, and it does get on top of the tanks. ESCGoOdy losing every tank he has, and the Marines will be enough to kind of thwart this as long as the SCVs get in the way, and it's true. You know, Stalkers really have trouble with Marines when SCVs are in the way. I mean, they can kite them, but if they don't have enough space to move, not a good thing for them. There is a Banshee out here. It does not have Cloak, so that will not be effective for Goody. Goody finding himself in a pickle here. The siege tank sieged up, but it's in good distance, so that if the Protoss player blinks up, he will have to walk a distance to get to the tanks, whereas before, he blinked right on top of the tanks. And right away they were disabled. And he gets on top of the tank again! He's choosing to be expendable with his Stalkers. A little bit of a miss micro standing right on top of the Marines and losing a lot of Stalkers. He scouts this expansion, though. He knows that the Terran player is attempting to expand. He has to make that choice for himself as well. The Protoss player is sitting on 500 minerals. He has the option to expand, but I think he's going to invest in more Stalkers, and he did, hoping that he can end this game here. He's doing a lot of damage to the Terran player. There's no way the Terran player can expand through this pressure. A missile turret going up for ESCGoOdy to deny this Observer that is causing him so much grief. Those Stalkers are going to make a mess of the Marines if they don't get siege tank support, but they do once again have a siege tank, and they blink out of there. MouzMana pulling his Stalkers back before they get obliterated by the siege mode. Now finally taking that expansion, MouzMana is in control of this game. He's keeping constant pressure, sniping supply depots, which supply depots and add-ons, man, are such good targets. If he can get this reactor, that would be a huge pickup, seeing as how reactors take forever and a half to rebuild. A scan goes down to try and deny this Observer. The Observer gets away. Blinkstalk is doing some damage to the bio ball, protecting the siege tank. And if MouzMana can clear out that siege tank and keep the Marine count low, he's in such good shape. And now that he's already spent the cash on this expansion, he can use the rest of his income on military units. You can see that he is starting to warp in units back home, no longer investing on this. He doesn't want to fall to a drop. If a drop lands in his base... Did we just see a feedback? I heard the feedback sound, but I could be wrong. No, there's no feedback. I just heard the sound from feedback. It was probably just the sound from the medevac discharging. Tanks charging. What a dirty word. But yeah, anyway, so MouzMana keeping on this pressure, really impressive. Really keeping this Terran player contained in his base. The siege tech would normally work for him, but he's been able to snipe the siege techs from the start. The siege tanks. He's been keeping that number low, and that's really vital. This command center is going to try to take this expansion up here, thinking that he's getting away with something sneaky, but MouzMana's buildings are here, and we'll spot that if the command center tries to land. And Mana will be able to just walk over there and snipe it, and there's nothing that ESCGoOdy will be able to do about it. And here we go. We'll see from Mana's point of view. He sees that right there. Will he? Yeah, there he goes. He's gonna blink real quick. He's gonna get over there. However, Goody is pushing out with a bit of an army, and it's kind of a scary one. This looks like that one base 1-1-1 build that you see from the start. And how is Goody gonna do? Mana gonna deal with it? I'm not sure. The command center knows it cannot land here, so it's gonna actually run up to the top base. And now this is a bit of a scary army. MouzMana might not have enough to deal with it. Will Mana lose the game to this one push? Blinkstalker's trying to whittle down the army before it actually reaches his base. But there's a lot of stuff here. The Marines and the siege tank count just climbed so high, so fast off one base. It was scary. Scan going down to see what kind of an army is waiting at the top of the ramp. It is not an army that is going to pose much of a threat, but we don't have a ramp. This base is on the low ground, which may be where he wants to fight. 2 bunkers are going up. This is going to be quite the contained. MouzMana not pulling his line yet. And let me say right now, this is MouzMana's token skill. He is so patient. This is what he's good at. This is what he was faced with in DreamHack. And look at him going over here. He's going to see this reinforcement line. He's going to pick that off. And like I said, he is just so patient. And one thing I really like about him is that decision making in situations like this. He's going... I'm not even sure what he's trying here. He's sitting on a lot of bank right now. Is he going to try to warp anything in? I don't know. I'm not sure what his thinking is here. This line is going to get pulled. He's going for the throat. He wants to take out Goody's production. Bunkers going down. There is a siege tank and a Banshee in the base, but once he trades bases with Goody, I don't feel like he's going to have enough of an army to fight him. However, it looks like he may try to take a new expansion over here. I mean, Goody's base is done. He's not going to be able to produce anything right now. But that being said, Goody has the better army, I believe. This looks like so many Marines, the tanks, the Banshees. I don't feel there is this Templar archive. If he could warp in a couple of High Templar, he's gonna get a. He's trying to get a DT shrine. If he can drop that before. Oh my God! If he can drop that before. No! What is he doing? He lost. Oh shit! He lost his Templar archive or whatever we call it. It's the Twilight Council. He lost the Twilight Council and just could no longer build the DT shrine. And like I said, this is one scary army. And now that these bunkers are set up, Goody is gonna land his command center over here and be able to continue mining like normal. His factory, 2 barracks, and another command center are fine. This one will actually burn down, but he saved a lot of his production. His starport is still fine as well. And really, I put this game in Goody's hands, despite the early pressure that MouzMana successfully pulled off. This is not looking good for Mana at all. I don't know how he's going to break this army. An observer sitting on top of it. He knows exactly what's there. But once again, Goody is mining and will have production again shortly. The small force, a Nexus going down at the gold base. MouzMana is actually going to attempt something here. A few Immortals wouldn't be a bad choice. Once he gets pylons up, he is supply blocked so hard. He has supply for 8. He has the capacity for 8 supply. What are you doing, Goody? Do not go over there with your stalkers. They will get obliterated by tanks. However, the tanks are out of range. He will be able to do some damage to that bunker without taking any damage to his stalkers because Blink is an option here. That bunker is now on fire. He will have to repair it, but it's not even going to be worth it to Goody. He will actually take an SCV over there and repair, though. We're on normal speed. That's funny to me. How long have we been on normal speed? Have we been on normal speed the whole fucking game? Did that happen? I don't think so. No way. It doesn't even matter. Let's rock through this, baby. This has been a pretty fucking awesome game so far. And we will see the Marines push against these Stalkers, and the Stalkers do have blink, so they will be able to cause some problems. But the Banshees do have range on the Stalkers. They can't hit them from the full distance, and the Marines can't. Sorry, the Banshees able to take shots farther than the Marines can, so the Stalkers cannot kite the Marines like they normally could. Dear God, I hope we were not on normal speed the entire time. I apologize if we were. It has still been an exciting game. I didn't even freaking notice. And let's see what happens here. To compensate for that, let's kind of zip through this, man. We've got in production more Banshees, more tanks for the Terran player. The Observer, I still see it on the minimap. There it is, right here. MouzMana still keeping tabs on this army. But like I said, the Terran player is up in production. He's got Banshees now. Oh, we're back on normal speed here, faster. He's got more Banshees added to his army. And he will be able to just come over here and cause some damage, I believe. But a few Stalkers here to protect it from those Banshees. And look at this Banshee over here going to attack this pylon. And there's no Stalkers there to defend it. An Immortal coming out of the robotics bay. Will the Terran player push with this army as well? I mean, he could very well follow it up with a punch to here. You know, the 1-2... Banshee harass over here, causing problems. This will cause... Oh, it does get the pylon! So, delay on the... Oh, this is so frustrating for Mana. He won't be able to attack that. Oh, he can hit the Banshee from there. Beautiful. Little bit of a graphics error shooting through that rock there, but Stalkers do what they want to do. And finally, this does come back powered, and MouzMana will be able to pump out that Immortal. And all is well in Mana Town, but we see Goody at 84 supply to Mana 64. What will he be able to do about it? So many Marines, so many siege tanks. This is exactly like the early game 1-1-1 build, and it is so terrifying to deal with, especially when you have this to work with. What do you do? What do you do? He hasn't opened up that gateway yet, though, which is a little bit upsetting. And Mana trying to whittle away at Goody, trying to pick off units piece by piece, which is how you want to do it. The one thing I should note is that Goody did take the natural of Mana, which has been mined a little bit, and that's really going to affect the game. If Goody can hold, a Guardian Shield goes down, he attacks the Marines, a couple force fields go down as well, taking out a large number of the bio, and wow, really doing a lot of damage, but he needs to get out of it. Yes, he needs to get out with his Stalkers now, but that was a huge dent in the bio army that exists for Goody. Goody is walking down here to check if the gold expansion is in fact taken by Mana, and the probes don't get away. So many go down to this push, and this expansion for Mana will go down right now. There's nothing that Mana can do about it, and this could be GG, ladies and gentlemen. ESCGoOdy is pushing hard on this base, but what do we have over here? Stalkers in Goody's line, and they will be unchallenged, managing to pick off a siege tank, pulling one Stalker back so that it does not get finished off by the tank. Will be able to kite the Marines and stay safe there. Oh, Goody does manage to pick off that single Stalker, and really doing a lot of damage here. The mineral line is almost completely evaporated for Goody, but I mean, the trade, at what cost? There's no way that MouzMana can pull himself back into this. These Stalkers have been so cost effective, but now that the army is here, I just don't see any option for Mana. Pumping out some more Immortals. He's got 2 here. If he can really pick apart, he's got another expansion going up at the opposite gold. Mana, you beast! So we have this small division of Marine tank going over here, and the small piece of tank squadron here with a few Marines in the bunker. Trying to get this mineral line saturated again. The mules are really going to help. He's no upgrades going at all. No upgrades have even started in this game, period. And here comes the big finale here. A couple of Immortals wandering away from this site. The Stalkers are really going to need to do their work. Picking off a medevac. Immortals getting in the tank line that is naked. There are no Marines to protect it. The tanks are on siege, but it's not enough. The Stalkers pulling the Marines back by themselves. What? Is Mana gonna win this? Oh my god! And the Marines get into the gold mineral line, but I don't think it matters. The Stalkers will be able to pick apart this army along with help with the Immortals. The Immortals will be able to take out the tanks. The Marines trying to focus down the Immortals. He needs to micro this perfectly. The Stalkers and the Immortals pick apart the Terran army! Are you kidding me? The Protoss army wins that engagement and has now secured the Gold Expo. He will be able to do some damage here if he can get over here fast enough. The Immortal shields will regenerate and he will be able to punch a hole in the bunkers. But I don't think he's going to push it. I think he's going to play it safe. He needs to repower this base. He doesn't have any probes, really, but the Gold Expo, the fact that it's a gold will help him stay in this game. A single Banshee coming out. I don't know what kind of observer count Mana has. If you look at the unit tab, does he have any? He has one observer on the map. If those Banshees, for whatever reason, get cloaked, it could be a problem for Mana because this one observer is all he has. And here come the Marines to try and do some damage to these Stalkers, picking apart the SCV line, picking apart the Marines. One Stalker almost gets trapped behind, but Blink saves its life. Does he have Blink to get down onto the low ground? He does not, and a little bit of a fail micro costs him 2 Stalkers, but he will be able to take some shots at this line. He's going to get surrounded by some Marines. He needs to get out of here. He cannot stay any longer or he will lose his Stalkers. He needs to get out now. He loses another Stalker, and that could cost him the game. However, a Zealot and 2 Immortals coming in here, piercing through these bunkers. The Zealots chopping up every Marine that gets in their way, and the Stalker coming to add firepower to these Immortals. If he loses these Immortals, the game is over. He needs to get out with these Immortals. The SCVs kill an Immortal with Marine support. The Immortal needs to back up and will go down if he does not. Be careful. And the SCVs get the Immortal. Mana loses his last Stalker. And does he have anything left? Unit tab, he is an observer. GG, well played. MouzMana leaves the game. What a game, ladies and gentlemen. This is one I will remember at MouzMana. You are going in depth. I used to remember him from DreamHack, but this is my new favorite game from Mana. ESCGoOdy, you played amazing too. Holding it to the last second. Good placement, taking the natural where you set up your bunkers for the push. What an incredible match, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this game. I'm StarcraftInc, and what a game to come back on.